Good day, everyone. I am Anjali, your host for this podcast on CX excellence. Let me begin by sharing with you why I'm doing this in the first place. Well, we all know that all business is about the customer. Any business exists, in fact, thrives up till the point where customers are happy to consume their services for a fee. So, earning the customer's confidence and loyalty for the long term is therefore vital for the survival of the business. In some sense, you could say that customer loyalty is the direction in which all business is headed. Now, customer loyalty stems from a sum total of various experiences with the brand over a period of time. It therefore becomes a very central metric that impacts the longevity of organizations and determines or impacts at least all metrics that go into call success. Well, when it comes to consumer organizations, there are of two types. First, there are those that sell a product to the customers and make money, you know. The second one belong to a category that want to touch people's lives, build relationships, make a difference. Of course, while still generating revenue and profits. Suffice to say that you know which one of these brands is in for the longer haul. The difference will lie in the reason why they do it, which will almost always impact the what, which is the activities that are undertaken, and also the how those activities are implemented. More importantly, it will define the landscape of opportunity, the rate of acquisition of customers, the stickiness for retention, for amplifying the value of each customers. Ultimately, it will redefine the growth rates, the scale, the size of the organization over a period of time. Let me share a quick stat. In a survey across 100 plus companies, 76% of the employees stated that they understood their customers very well and that they were able to resolve all of their problems and concerns well within time. And they believed that they were doing a great job. When the same question was posed to customers of the very same brands, asking them, how much they believed the brands understood them and were able to resolve their concerns, only 7.6% of those customers agreed that the brands made an effort. Where was the gap? Clearly, there is a difference in a common understanding of what is called decent service. Another data point suggests that 50% of customers will leave a brand after just one poor experience. If you think that's high, this quantum can go up to a staggering 80% when it comes to the millennials or the Gen Z, who have even lower patience or tolerance for suboptimal experiences. What is even fascinating is that while the older generation still reach out and voice their complaints, the younger generation refuse to even call or complain. They just simply choose to walk away quietly. That's what is called quiet churn. In a hyper competitive world, customers have plethora of choice. They select their brands based upon experiences. Now, here are some statistics that prove why it's important. 53% customers scrapped a planned purchase or transaction due to bad service. 74% customers are likely to switch brands if the purchase process is found to be difficult. When you're on a website and you feel it's just not responding at the speed that you want, or the whole journey is complex, or you're not finding the right clicks, buttons, just walk away. A dissatisfied customer speaks to as many as 15 people and spreads the bad news very, very fast. Satisfied customers choose not to speak at all. Happy customers do speak of positive interactions, but only to an average of about 4 people. So which means that bad news spreads much faster in comparison. Here's another interesting one. The difference in the lifetime value of a happy versus a dissatisfied customer could be as high as 10x. Wow, that's a huge number. These statistics tell a story. We have now been spoiled with the simplicity of transactions on platforms like Amazon and Uber that involve no more than 5 to 7 clicks to complete your journey. Even a complaint or a return of order on an Amazon can be easily concluded in a few clicks with very clearly mentioned milestones and timelines which are indicated, which more often than not they surpass. Now we've come to expect the same from all providers, irrespective of category or nature of business. So, in a sense, all B2C businesses are now competing with, Amazon and Uber in terms of simplicity, transparency, and delivery of experience. How many brands are really geared to deliver this? One of the shifts we saw in the recent past was when we said post COVID, there was a huge uptick in digital adoption. Sure, there was. But the way I see it, I think there was a fundamental shift that manifested in organizations during the time. That which was with respect to their view of their customers. Almost all businesses became more empathetic, willing to listen, learn, and pivot their products and services, and also deliver them experiences that are easily accessible, convenient, and offering a seamless transactions and serviceability suite all on the fingertips. And that's where we saw the digital upswing. So what I'm getting at is that it wasn't just digital adoption, but it was more fundamental, that people became a little bit more consumer sensitive. That's around the same time when I left my corporate role and ventured into CX consulting with the belief that this trend will only grow and that more and more businesses will look for ways to connect with their consumers at a more deeper level. Over the years, my work has taken me from MNCs to small and large domestic business houses. And whilst nuances vary, the focus on CX in India is still at a fairly nascent stage of adoption compared to some of the more developed markets. I've also played various roles from that of a marketer to that of, like a revenue driver, sales and distribution. Uh, Obviously, I've led customer roles, including product. And then towards the end, I also did a fair bit of work on digital transformation and data analytics and even IT. The way I see it, the common thread through all of this was my ability to see things from a customer perspective. And I have distilled all my learnings into something very simple and profound. And I believe that CX is fairly cardinal to the growth and sustenance of organizations. My passion and belief stems from years of experience, real life use cases, and innumerable examples of what we did right and what we did totally wrong, and some very invaluable lessons that I've learned through engaging with customers as well as with cross-functional teams in organizations that see things in very different light. By the way, all valid. And whilst all perspectives are valid and acceptable, or should be, for discussion, debate, and decisions, my belief is that one perspective that must eventually rule over all others is the customer's perspective. After all, it's the only reality. Well, let me say that again, it's an important one. The customer's perception is the only reality that matters. All else, all other opinions or perceptions, are just interpretations. Let me change gears a bit and talk about how is the industry viewing CX as a subject. We spoke to a few industry CX professionals to get their views on the subject of CX. And I'm going to make a mention of two gentlemen. One is Anubhav Mehrotra, who was head of CX from Tata 1MG. And the other is Vinit Kapahi, who is head of marketing at Aviva Life Insurance. And we asked them some very basic fundamental questions like who owns the customer, what kind of CX metrics do you track, what are your key CX challenges, and so on. Let's see what they had to say.
Who owns the customer in your company?
Answer would be me as customer experience head. all the business owners, along with me, being the customer experience head, we own the customer.
I think as a company, we all own the customer. It's not specific to any department or any person or any head of this thing. I think we all in totality own the customer.
So, should there be a defined owner for the customer in an org? Well, it's a good debate to have. When multiple functions are responsible, it does show that they're all sensitized and take cognizance of some part of the customer relationship. On the flip side, we also know that the ball may drop when multiple people are responsible for a KPI. Also, who has the full end-to-end view of the relationship that is able to marry all the data, information, and trends together? Mhm.
Top three
You
customer metrics you track.
NPS, repeat customer behavior, and CSAT.
I think the first and the foremost that we look at is the net promoter score. What is the level of engagement that a customer has at every touch point that we have, and how does he feel about us? Uh, the other metric that we look at is a larger industry per se. What do consumers really think of us as a life insurance company? So for a category like us, it's mostly trust. And for a brand which is Aviva, we've been the most trusted brand for the last 5 years, voted by the customers. Uh, yeah, I think primarily these are the metrics that we look at.
So, what key CX metrics do you track? Different industries may find different CX metrics in varying degrees of importance, given their own category truths. However, some KPIs like NPS, CSAT will probably always remain sacrosanct. Broadly, organizations measure themselves for their ability to create perception, which leads to factors like reputation, trust, and referrals, which is a very higher order uh, KPI. But also their ability to create seamless interactions and transactions, which is called journey simplification. And those would be KPIs like call center stats, website and application scores, delivery times, TATs, and so on. But ultimately, the most evolved organizations are able to stack up their CX metrics against financial outcomes. And that is when the true business benefit can be seen emerging. Metrics like retention, repeat and upsell revenue, customer lifetime value, ARPU, profitability, and so on.
Biggest challenge in the customer domain.
The challenge is to ensure that we are available for the customer at the time of his choice, through the channel of his choice, in the language of his choice. That means we have to be available in omni-channel mode, and kind of give personalized attention and services to the customer.
I think we live in a very complex category. Irrespective of how hard we try to sort of make simplicity, as the key word for a purchase for a consumer or a post purchase for a consumer, it is a categories problem which basically makes it extremely complex. So the thing that we keep looking and striving is that how do we make a consumer's life easy? The word simplicity in terms of every part of interaction that he does with us.
What are your key CX challenges? It's not always easy to even describe the challenges unless the organization has reached a decent level of maturity. The examples cited here by these gentlemen with respect to creating simplicity in the complex world of insurance and about omni-channel, omni-time availability in the healthcare domain are so specific to their respective category truths. In my experience, I've also seen organizations talk about things like unified view of customer, Do we really have the data to marry together all our understanding and distill into a single place? Which is a lot about integrating data and systems. Also around collating listening programs from different sources into creating like a single dashboard with a prioritized set of next step actions. Or building the capability to deliver CX within the organization, which, by the way, is a lot about intrinsic people, skills, culture, and so on. Suffice to say, this domain is exciting and constantly evolving. Let me show some more numbers here. Let's talk about CX and company growth. Businesses with a top-notch customer experience stand a 17% higher chance of growing consistently year after year as compared to those with a poorer experience strategy. B, let's talk about CX and customer retention. Improving CX can lead to 33% growth in customer satisfaction, 42% growth in customer retention, and 32% growth in cross-selling and upselling. Essentially, all the metrics that go on to create revenue and stickiness. And essentially creating higher value customers through repeat purchases. Further, it is also known that it costs 5x more to acquire a new customer than to retain an established one. So clearly, one needs to have a well-defined experience strategy for retention. Let's look at brand. Organizations that deliver great CX have 1.5 times more engaged and productive employees than organizations that don't. So higher employee retention also leads to lower cost towards recruitment and training. So if you're a cost-sensitive organization, here's a great reason to invest in CX. Lastly, let's look at its relationship with company profits and financials. And as I said earlier, financial performance is directly linked with customer growth, retention, and lifetime value. And data says that just a 5% increase in customer retention rates can potentially increase profits by anywhere between 25 to 95%. If that's not something to gun for, I'm not sure what else is. Customers are willing to spend more with brands that are easy to transact with and also willing to pay a premium for their services. This is one of the most coveted and towering metric for not just marketers, but also CEOs. The ability to command a premium because of deep brand love and also create a chain of referrals through advocacy. This truly is the North Star of all KPIs that can result in catapulting customer acquisitions and revenue growth. So CX leaders drive higher growth in revenue, customer love, advocacy ratios, and even perform better at the stock market. So we could infer that CX is the new stage for marketing warfare, offering the ultimate competitive advantage. Gone are the days when operational efficiencies were business drivers. That is now a table stake in order to even survive in a competitive world full of highly demanding customers. Nor is product leadership alone sufficient. Whilst it is true that unique product benefits are hugely valued by customers, this is usually a catch-up game and it's like a constant race to remain ahead of the curve. What is required now is consistent delivery of excellent customer experience from branding to product to service to life cycle, everything in between. That is the ultimate competitive advantage. A brand that has a customer-focused culture, offers omni-channel experience, unique product propositions, and continues to evolve with changing consumer needs, stands to win an upper hand with loyalty and trust. This, I believe, is a pretty good reason for this podcast. So each fortnight, we will invite a guest from the industry, seek their views, understand their practices, learn and enhance our grip on this very important subject. We will look for answers to questions like, is there a stated customer experience strategy that emanates from the brand purpose, the customer need, and the product benefits, the trilogy, as I call it? Is it documented and understood by all stakeholders? Are the behaviors aligned to this? Are they articulated and communicated? How does that translate into brand promise, product design, service design? How are the touch points being created and designed to influence customers and create those experiences? How are the products and services being tuned to tailor to these specific customer sets and wishes of these target consumers? And are these well differentiated from competitors? Are the customer acquisition, onboarding, and service processes designed to deliver that? Are moments of truth being written and created? Are companies investing in creating innovation? Are companies listening enough? And if so, are there learning and correction loops in place? How is data stored and integrated with all the key processes for the customers? Do customers feel like, communication to them is personalized? Do they get that attention? Do they feel empowered? How is technology deployed for enhancing CX? New age tools like AI, ML, RPA, the metaverse, AR, VR. There's so much that's possible in today's age and time to enhance experiences. And last but not the least, are the employees of the organization trained on the principles of CX strategy? Are they motivated to live by the values and exhibit the right behaviors? Are they empowered? The list could go on, but more of this in our subsequent episodes. I'm excited to initiate this podcast and invite you to join me as we traverse through various aspects of CX across industries and across genres. I look forward to building this for you, so I hope some of you will join me on this journey. Thank you for today and look forward to see you in a fortnight.